Welcome back to my kitchen. So today we are making a crab sushi bake. I know that's been trending here over the last few months, but I can say it's the most amazing thing because if you like sushi like I do, and maybe you don't live near a sushi place, so we're probably about like 30 minutes from a really good sushi place now. And I mean, we've got to settle for like grocery store sushi, which from Publix isn't too bad, I will say, but this is awesome because you can make this at home and it literally feels like you're having sushi. So I make a couple different variations with it, just depending on like what I have on hand. But today we're just going to use imitation crab, but you can literally use canned crab, fresh crab. You can also mix like the imitation crab with canned salmon, which I've done before, and I really love that flavor. Or you could just use canned salmon if you have it. So those are my favorite ways to make it, and I'll list all those in the recipe for you too. So, all right, so let's get into it. So I already have my favorite sushi rice. So any brand of sushi rice will work. And I already have it cooking so that we don't have to wait on it, because you do kind of want it to just, as you know, like sushi rice gets really sticky the longer it sits. So I went ahead and made that already. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and check this rice. And I'm gonna get a fork because you're supposed to fluff it with a fork, as most rice. So that's looking good. And the other thing we're gonna do is we're gonna combine some salt and sugar and some rice vinegar in a microwavable bowl. I mean, you'd think I'd have that already together, but anyways. All right, so now that I've got everything, got my bowl, got my measuring spoon here, we're gonna do 2 tablespoons of rice vinegar. And when you make your rice, just make it per the package directions. So I used 1.5 cups of rice, and that's the perfect amount for about, I don't know, like a little less than probably like a 9 by 12 pan or so. All right, so we got that. And then we're gonna do a tablespoon of white sugar. And we're just gonna use the same spoon here really quickly. So 1 tablespoon of sugar. And then we need 1/2 teaspoon of salt. There we go. All right. So just give those a little bit of a mix here. And I'm just gonna microwave them for, I don't know, like 30 seconds or so. All right. And then I'm gonna take my cooking spray. I'm just gonna wipe that around in my pan. All right. All right, so we've got our sugar, rice vinegar, and salt in this bowl. And we're just gonna go ahead and add it into our rice mixture. So. And of course, we want our rice to be nice and fluffy and sticky. So I'm gonna get a spatula out here. So here's my rice, looks beautiful. It probably could have sat for a little bit longer just because I want it to absorb more of that liquid. It just really makes a good base for it. Like I said, this is the perfect, call it a girl dinner. I've got my mom making this and she loves it because she loves sushi. And where she lives, there are no sushi places. And that's one of our favorite things to do, is to go out and have sushi when she comes to visit. But I've got to go try some sushi places around here because I have not been since we moved. And I know that there's at least 2 good places about 30 minutes away. So I have got to get out there and check those out. So I'm gonna have to call up one of my friends and go on a little sushi date, a little sushi lunch. All right, so you just take your spatula and smush the rice down as much as you can. You really just want to get it to be a good base when you go to cut it later. All right, that's good. And you can see that we've got a nice sushi base here. All right, so we're gonna add a nice little creamy crab stick base on top of this. Yikes. Try not to break any bowls today as we're pulling things out. You'll have that. All right, I've got my recipe out here so that I don't forget anything. So we're gonna do 4 ounces of your favorite cream cheese. It doesn't matter what brand you use. And go ahead and cut that up. If I can get the wrapper open, hopefully. There we go. Come on. All right. We're gonna throw this away. And then I'm gonna stick it in the microwave really quickly just to get it a little softer because I of course forgot to get it out to soften. All right, so that is in the microwave right now. We're gonna get this out of here, clean up our spots. We can go ahead and get this open. And then, all right, we need our mayo, our hot sauce. Yikes. Didn't take long to soften up in the microwave, so, and you know what? We're gonna use the same spatula that we just used. All right. So we've got our cream cheese, we got our mayo. Pick your favorite mayo. You guys already know that I'm a Duke's girl, so we're gonna use Duke's. And it's about a half a cup. And since I don't like to measure with a measuring cup sometimes, that's about a half a cup, give or take. Might be a little more, that's okay. All right. And then we're gonna do some hot sauce in here. If you like sriracha, go ahead and use that. If you like chatula, I think is maybe how you say it. We've got Frank's, it really doesn't matter. Just do about 2 tablespoons or so. Unless you want it spicier, then by all means, add a little more. But 2 tablespoons is good for me. And then I'm gonna go ahead and add in my crab here. Get rid of this for a second. This really is gonna be so good tonight. And I think the great thing about this, honestly, it's really good the first night, but it gets better the next day because it like holds its shape better the next day since it's been in the fridge. And then I go ahead and stick it in the air fryer and it is so crispy, it's delicious. So I'm using imitation crab and I like to shred it up. And I like the leg sections, which are these long sections of crab. And so I am gonna shred it here and add it to my bowl. You're gonna use 8 ounces of crab, so don't skimp on that. If you end up doing, like if you're gonna add in salmon, I would maybe do like 4 ounces of crab and 4 ounces of canned salmon. And if you do use salmon, also make sure that you mix it up in the food processor so that you like crush any of the bones that are in there. If you're using fresh crab, you don't really have to grind it up or anything like that. So, but you know, I mean, I think this is great. You can also use canned crab, because sometimes, as we know, it is hard to find fresh crab when you're not super close to the ocean. I mean, we're not that far away, but the price of crab these days, I mean, as it should, it's delicious, but it's like $30 a pound, I think. So it's a little pricey, but you can always indulge every once in a while. But a pinch imitation crab works just fine. So that's what we're gonna use. Got all of this almost shredded up here. Just about. Sometimes it tears really easily, and then sometimes not so much. But it's okay if you got chunks of it in there, it's fine. All right. All right, I think we got it all in there. And then just give it a good stir, trying to get that cream cheese and mayo and hot sauce mixture spread around it. And I mean, feel free to do 8 ounces of cream cheese, like whatever you want to do. I have just found that you want a good ratio. So like with the sushi, I've made it with like more rice, and honestly you want a really good ratio of like half and half, or you know, a little more rice and still a decent amount of topping, but you just don't want to get too heavy on it, or it just doesn't crisp up. It's hard to crisp up in the oven, and that's why I really like eating it the next day, because the air fryer just does a great job of making it crispy. You could probably do that even when you make it this, like the first night or whatever, but it's just like one extra step. So the easiest thing is just to like stick it in the oven, and then when you have leftovers, pop them in the air fryer. All right, and then I'm gonna heat the oven to 350, and I'm gonna get rid of some trash here. Always trying to clean my kitchen as I go, if I can. It's not always easy, but let me tell you, nobody wants to do dishes later, I can tell you that. So, all right, so hopefully my stove stays on. And truthfully, 400 degrees for the oven. I think I said 350. Do 400. Again, sometimes it doesn't crisp up as quickly as I want it. So now what we're gonna do is take our pan here. And one other thing. You could do this, I just love this pan. It's like my favorite casserole dish. You could do it in a little shorter one, a little longer one, to like make your rice a little thinner, so then it would crisp up a lot quicker. But I just take my mixture, this is basically your topping here, and go ahead and you're just gonna spread it around from corner to corner here. Making sure that we cover every inch of our sushi bake. I'll tell you, the first time I came up with this, I did a combination of salmon and the crab, and it tasted just like a sushi dish, or sushi roll, I guess, that I used to get at one of my favorite sushi places. So if that tells you anything, this is so good. Even the people that don't like sushi, I think you'll like this. All right, got that over here. I don't want to leave any of these good bits behind here. All right, see? Just keep getting more on my spatula. All right. Hopefully it's not too messy, but you'll see we've got it all spread around here. And then I like to take some sesame seeds, maybe. Give those a little sprinkle on top, and then hold on to these because we're gonna pull these back out in a pinch. And we're gonna stick this in the oven until it browns. So Depends, probably about 20 minutes or so. We'll just keep checking it, but around 20-25 minutes is probably the sweet spot for it. So we're gonna go ahead and stick this into a 400-degree oven, and we'll see it shortly. And there's the kitchen helper. All right, so I just pulled this out of the oven, and so it looks like that. It's kind of starting to brown. You could probably stick it under the broiler and really let it get nice and brown there. And I am gonna bring a pot holder over so that I do not burn myself here. All right. So now we get to dress this thing up. So you can add whatever toppings you'd like. My go-to, honestly, for this though, that you have to use is a Japanese barbecue sauce. This stuff is way better than soy sauce. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but if you've ever had it, you'll understand. It's like a thickened, I can't even say it compares to soy sauce, but it's a lot thicker, and to me it's a lot more flavorful. So I'm gonna add that. We're gonna add more sesame seeds. We're also gonna add some green onions as well as avocado. But if you had cucumbers would be great on this. What else? I mean, any of your favorite sushi items. Like if you like the seaweed, you could kind of crunch that up on top. Like whatever you wanna use is perfectly fine. But these are my go-to things that I love using. So we're gonna start with the avocado. Hopefully this one is good enough. Avocados are a little softer than I would like, but whoops, throwing knives around here. Gotta watch out. Now I will say, if you're not gonna eat all this tonight and you wanna reheat it tomorrow, you're probably gonna have to take off the avocado because it's gonna brown, and then I just add fresh avocado after I put it in the air fryer tomorrow, because you can bet that I'm having this for lunch. And I just broke my avocado piece. All right, I might need to cut up one more. Let's see here. Getting it all over my hands. All right, we're gonna go ahead and cut this one open. All right. They're a little softer than I like, but that's okay. They're still edible. And it's just not a sushi bake without avocado, in my personal opinion. All right, and then I'm gonna go ahead and take my scissors. I'm gonna use a couple of these bigger pieces of green onion here. Scallions, whatever you wanna use is perfect. We're just gonna go ahead and snip those right over top. This is so good. Now, I will say it's hard to wait, but if you can wait just a little bit to try to just let it set up a little bit more, because it's kind of like when you take the first piece of cake, it always seems to fall apart, or first piece of pie, like whatever it is, it always seems to fall apart. So we're gonna do the sauce first. So if you can let it sit there for a few minutes, plus you don't want to burn your mouth off. All right, we're gonna drizzle that all over the top and go this way. This stuff is so good. You're just gonna keep this out because you're gonna keep dipping into it while you're eating it. All right. How pretty does this look? Try not to. I mean, it looks pretty dang good to me. It's gorgeous. All right, and what's sushi without edamame? This edamame is hot.